It's not often that I get comments from Hebrew Israelites that are respectful. But I'm going to go through the litany and show you, because I appreciate when some of them come to me and they speak to me respectfully about their situation. Like this guy. If you don't believe in the Bible, don't speak on it. You have no overstanding. Your statement is ignorant. Respectfully. He threw the respectfully in there. So even though it was a kind of a backhanded slap, he at least threw the respectfully in. Now this person said that not all Israelites teach the same, some of those things that you claim. Your title said Hebrew Israelite, not Israelites. Exactly. Because I was distinguishing between the difference between one Hebrew Israelite who spoke one thing that was not true, and so I was designating that one person, not talking about all Hebrew Israelites. But there are some instances where I've only experienced one mentality from every Hebrew Israelite I've ever encountered. To which brings me to this statement. He met one Israelite that believes what he is saying and is going all, and he's grouping all Israelites together. That's bearing false witness. No, I'm not, which is why I explained to the person that, hey, look, I have met several hundred on this platform and several hundred Hebrew Israelites and several thousands on these platforms with the same rhetoric. Sadly, I've only met a few that are different. This guy maybe proves himself to be a little different because he says something and we have a respectful conversation. One West campus don't teach that. So maybe you should call the camps out, or the camps that don't, and don't lump everybody into one group. Right. And that's true, because there may be some Hebrew Israelites that don't say that all of us who came from, all of us are black Americans, are Hebrew Israelites, that Egypt is America, that Deuteronomy 28:68 says is the prophecy that we was going to be slaves in America, that they can have children, they can get with a girl soon as she has a period. I'm sure not all of them say the same thing, but that's why on that original video I say Hebrew Israelite, not lights. But I do try to call out people for their individual one, if I can distinguish between the two. But too often, this is the Hebrew Israelite that I get. That's what you call a fool, a clown. You are a Hebrew Israelite. Deuteronomy tells us by the curses. So you're a Hebrew Israelite based on some curses. It's okay if you don't want to believe, but you are by blood, by continuing kissing the white man's assets. You see, this is what I normally get from the Hebrew Israelite. I get the insult first, and then they tell me how they try to tell me what my family heritage is, when I know that my family comes from Mali on my father's side and comes from Nigeria on my mother's side. But they want to try to tell me exactly where my family comes from, where my bloodline comes from. But I know where my bloodline comes from. And guess what? I dare you, I challenge you, sir. Prove that your family comes from Israel. Show the documented proof that your family comes from Israel. Your individual family. Not some bullshit about speculating that some Israelites went to West Africa, that some Israelites traveled to the Americas. No. Prove your individual family. I bet you couldn't. I give you $100 if you can prove your individual. And then here's this young lady. She was mostly respectful. You know, she was like, prove all things, to which I did, and I prove everything that your Deuteronomy 28:68 is not talking about the transatlantic slave trade. It's literally talking about going to Egypt. It used the article that means Egypt itself, the place, not a place of bondage. I showed how even when we're talking about being sold in America, that it said that you will not find buyers. And the word to redeem doesn't mean being redeemed by God. It literally means that no one is going to buy you, redeem you. Just like in Leviticus 25, when it's talking about property, it's talking about redeeming it with cash, buying it back. That nobody's going to buy it back. Nobody's going to purchase you. So, no, it meant that you will not find people wanting to buy you as slaves, and that you will sell yourselves into slavery. Not that someone will sell you into slavery, which is what actually happened in the transatlantic slave trade. But then we was cool at first when she was saying that I should debate some Hebrew Israelites. Well, I haven't found any recently who want to debate me without being overly aggressive in public, because every time I did run up against them in New Orleans or Atlanta, they always want to start a fight because they couldn't defeat the rhetoric that I was bringing to them, or the facts that I was bringing to them. and then they always want to try to fight somebody at that point because they're immature and childish. There are a few times, as I told her on YouTube, where I debated. On Kevin Wesley's show, we had Hebrew Israelites come on there from time to time, but we found that they just go in circles and they just start yelling and screaming that they didn't present anything intellectual as far as the conversation. So you find them. I don't mind them coming on to my show. I'm there, except for Tuesdays in the first hour, but I'm there. I'm there Tuesday, Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock, 10:30. Come on to the show if you want to debate a Hebrew Israelite. I'm fine with that. But she tried to throw this thing in there. That'll be the manly thing to do. I'm just curious. Do you ever tell the Hebrew Israelites that if they lose an argument, the manly thing to do would be to concede? That the manly thing to do would not to try to start a fight every time they sit up there and they lose, or somebody doesn't want to agree with them. The manly thing to do would not to be try to overtalk everybody with a big old bullhorn, and then they don't want the other person to be able to utilize the bullhorn either. The manly thing to do is to have a conversation with somebody without throwing insults. That would be the manly thing to do. So I'm just curious if you talk to those people about those same things. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. And this is my last one because they just continue to prove exactly what I'm saying about the mentality of the ones that I've come in contact with and the ones that I see online. This man is a doormat and a slave that America didn't even pay for. You damn right. My forefathers went through that issue of being bought and paid for. I'm free like a mug, and I'm gonna say what I want to say, and I'm gonna say the truth of what I know and what I've seen and what I believe, because of the places I've been and the facts that backs up the things that I don't have 1% evidence for, but I have enough evidence to make a great hypothesis as to what actually happened. And then right behind him, straight vomit out your mouth, bearing false witness on your culture, not a religion. I'm not in your culture. You don't even know the Hebrew culture. You just making up stuff, running around in your Power Ranger uniforms. On the prophets, on how you allege they mistreat women is a lie. How am I lying when the book itself shows that women were subjugated, that women didn't have the rights to inheritance, that women were sold off into marriages by their fathers and brothers, that women, if the woman gave a testimony, it was not valid, that they mixed up potions to see if a woman was committing adultery if the husband felt jealous. Then they would mix up a potion to give her a miscarriage, that they took a woman out and gave the concubines to be raped, concubine and the man's daughter, virgin daughter, to be raped by the mob and judges in the same way they were offered in the story of Lot in Genesis. But in Judges, they actually gave them the women and they raped them and killed them. And then after they killed the concubine, they chopped the concubine up, sent that concubine in pieces to the 12 tribes. They warred against those men in Galilee. And then after they warred against them, and the men of Benjamin didn't have enough wives, they went and conquered other people and killed all the men, all the fighting men, all the women who've known a man, and kept the women who were a virgin, had not known, and made them their wives and gave them to the Benjamins. Then when they still didn't have enough, they went and kidnapped a bunch of girls at Shiloh and forced them to be wives. I'm not making that up. That's in your book. And I can go again and again with more and more information. How am I making that up? That's what your book say. That's what your book say. Then it blamed women. Moses blaming women because the Israelite men start seeing these other women. They start saying, ooh, that pum pum good. And then they start worshiping their gods. And so Moses said, hey, we got to go kill all the Moabites, all the Midianites. Let's go kill all of them, because his men were weak to that woman, to those women. So he killed all those people and then took the young ones who hadn't been known to man as brides. Come on, man. That's in your book. That's in your book. Don't try to blame me. Don't try to blame me. And I already talked about your little slave ships. Y'all don't want to accept nothing. Y'all are just a bunch of men who needs to scapegoat somebody else for your situation that you're in. And because you're in that situation, it feels good and gives you pride to make you think that there's something special about you, when you can become special all on your own. You don't need to force a religion down people's throat in order for you to feel special, in order for you to recognize your own personal greatness. The only thing that you have to do is free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness, it is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.